Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's vlogcast. I'm absolutely delighted to have Annette Matthews with me today. Annette and I have known each other for a long time. We first met when we were part of the MPD support group at St Thomas's many, many years ago. And Annette has very kindly agreed to talk about her journey from ET to having a stem cell transplant and her life now beyond the transplant. Annette, I can't quite see you. That's it.
Sorry.
Anyway, thank you, Annette. It's you've been enormously helpful over the years with fundraising as well. But I'd just like to ask you about what happened when you went from ET to myelofibrosis and then the stem cell transplant. Could you give me a little history of that?
Yes, just basically it's from the blood tests, and basically being told you've gone from ET to myelofibrosis. But I think I went on a trial for motorbikes, which I can never say, and it was a genuine drug. It wasn't a placebo or anything like that, but it helped initially, but then it stopped. So I had to go back on Rux, and then it was suggested that I spoke to the transplant doctor, and that was a little bit scary because I hadn't ever gone that far in my head. But he was so welcoming and helpful and kind, and I obviously took my son along and a friend, and we became great friends. It was like I looked forward to seeing him, so that was really nice. And when I said, well, where would you suggest I go to have this, and he actually was at King's College, so he said, if you come there, then I will sort of be in charge of you. So that was my choice, although personally, to get to Denmark Hill for visitors and everything, when we lived in Surrey, it was a very long way for everybody. But although they tell you you're going to be in hospital and you have to shield for up to a year from children more than anything, I was terrified of not being able to see my grandchildren. But they gave me a lovely photograph that they'd had done as a painting. And of course I did Zoom with them when I was feeling a bit better. And actually, I think I was home after 3 weeks. I kept having to go back in for 2 weeks at a time. But generally, they were so nice and so kind and helpful. And to be honest, you didn't really want to be with anybody else because you were so tired and exhausted from everything. I mean, the nurses wake you up early, you have a Hickman line in, so they're not drawing blood every 2 minutes, they're doing it out of the Hickman line, which is done in your chest. Really it was just temperatures. As soon as they raised, they were there on the ball with things, and I'd go home and then suddenly get a bit and I'd go back in again. So I probably went in and out probably about 4 or 5 times, but generally I was home, and at least being home was lovely. And just, you have to shield and be careful, obviously, and you can't eat certain things because you've got no immunity, so there's quite a few things you can't eat, but you get told all this information.
Can I just ask you, what sort of things can't you eat? Is this when you've had the transplant?
Yes. Well, I love brie, and you're not allowed that.
Unpasteurized milk, yeah.
Yeah. I had to go back onto full fat milk, and having been on semi-skim, but I'm still on it because I did lose a lot of weight. Yeah. It was weird things that you couldn't eat, and I should have got prepared for this because I haven't got the list, but they do give you, when you speak to the doctors and you sign your life away and everything, they're very kind and very knowledgeable.
Annette, can I just ask you though, before you got to the stem cell transplant, were you having lots of did you have anemia? Were you having lots of transfusions?
Yes, I did. My spleen was very enlarged, and I had to have blood transfusions and sometimes iron infusions because of the anemia. But again, it was they were lovely and kind, and just you got chatting to people next to you with most of us were having transfusions, and the people with PV were lying in beds because I couldn't believe what they take out for people like that. I thought, oh my God, it's like at least they're putting something back in me. Yeah. But yeah, it was difficult and long, but you were looked after and they were so lovely. You know, and I was so positive I was going to get through this and have it done and be 100% afterwards. I never, you know, I knew I had to go through all this, and you sort of just take a year out of your life and hopefully you're back again.
So how long ago did this happen?
September 2017. And to be honest, the worst bit was getting the chemo. That was about 3 times a day for about 4 days, infusions. Okay. And obviously you slowly got sick and had a bit of diarrhea and all that. And then I think probably for me was losing my hair. And my son came to visit me with his razor and he shaved it all off because he said, Mum, you don't need, every time you took a handful, it just came off. Let's get rid of it. And I had turbans and I had a wig, but in fact I just wore turbans all the time. And it was part of the process. As much as that was probably my biggest hang up, was losing my hair, which is really vain and silly.
And did it take long to grow back again?
Not really. When I look at pictures now, it was probably a good year, but it was quite short and it's come back curly. Can you believe it? I didn't have curly hair before. So strange.
There's an added bonus then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so do they still keep an eye on you, or do you?
Yes, I still go back to King's for the haematology visits, and they're very, you know, quick and over quite quickly. But again, there's lots of new doctors now because even all the nurses, everybody I kind of knew. It was in 2017 when I knew them all very regularly, and 18, and you do go back regularly afterwards, and it slowly gets to 3 months and 6 months, I think now, but I do still go to King's.
So you actually effectively don't have an MPN anymore?
No, I don't think I do. Which is to be, say, you're cancer free. Yes, because when I've been to some of the meetings and things, I used to have an ET badge, and then I had an MF badge, and now I've got, well, I haven't got a badge that says transplant because I'm meant to be well now.
Yes, but I mean, you've been an immense help to us at MPN Voice over the years, and I think you know, you're part of the MPN family, even though you don't have an MPN anymore. But are there any top tips you would give people when they're first told about how they might have to have a stem cell? Because it's quite an emotional roller.
It was. I you know, genuinely, I was very shocked. And I thought, you know, there's that why me, you know, when you think, well, everyone else is all right, why me? And obviously I went from, you know, just an aspirin to MF, and then, I mean, ET, and then FF, and then a transplant. But I was incredibly positive, and they found 100% match. In fact, they found 2. So I was very, very lucky, very quickly. And I just did a few things in the 4 months before I had it with the family and things I wanted to do. I ride a Harley Davidson, and we actually went to Switzerland on the bikes, but the doctor said I wasn't allowed to go up that tower that they did James Bond filming because the height was too high in case it affected me. But it was great fun, and you know, I sort of thought I better try and do a few things before.
That's just wonderful, Annette. And it's lovely to see you and hear you be so positive after going through all that. Thank you so much for giving your time to talk about it. I'm sure it'll be a great help to other people facing a stem cell transplant. Thank you, and see you soon.
Okay, bye.